Hello, my very dear Pisces. This is your reading for the week of April 27th, or when you hear it and it resonates, and it will not be for every Pisces. Pisces, the first thing that I saw was you on a surfboard. So, of course, being a water sign, it's not unusual I would see you around water. But the fact that you are on a surfboard, and you're on a surfboard, but what's interesting is you're not really taking the big waves. It's as though you had like a windsurfing sail on your board, but you don't. You're just skimming along the top of the waves, and that's what's important about this image, is that you are just skimming along the waves. Then I heard the song from Wicked, the movie or the play Wicked, Dancing Through Life. And it's really all about not taking life seriously and just, having a good time and not worrying about the consequences. So I don't know if that is in fact true for you, but I feel the energy is telling me that you are sometimes disinclined to go deeply into your feelings in a way where you get to really understand what your role was in every situation, or in situations that might be requesting forgiveness. You've got two forgiveness cards that come up, one in one pack, one in the other. And so what this is really saying to me is, where can you look back at places where you have not forgiven yourself? Where have you not identified, where have you not gone deeper into the watery emotions to understand what your role was in any of those situations that left you feeling challenged, betrayed, left, abandoned, hurt, victimized, any of those things? As an adult, well, even as a young person, we can take on characteristics and ways of interacting with people that can perpetuate perpetuate the kind of event our expectation has been kind of guiding us towards, because we will, in fact, sometimes create that. Now, why do we create it? Let's look at it energetically and spiritually. If that energy is with you, of blame, of defensiveness, of feeling like a victim, that's resonating in your field. And if this is what you believe is the truth, you will tend to see more of that come at you. That's just the way it works energetically, in terms of what you magnetize, and also in terms of the reticular activating system, the part of your brain which filters out what's not essential or not important to you. And based on what your mind is perpetuating, your conscious mind, it's going to show you more of that. So if you're afraid of being attacked, for example, or afraid that you're not being respected, you will probably come into situations where it's possible for you to perceive an offense where it's not. It can lead sometimes to a little bit of overanalyzing, overthinking, and sometimes paranoia. But what's really interesting here, I feel, Pisces, is that I feel you go back and forth between thinking that you're just fine and you're okay and then going down where you start questioning the validity of your choices, the way you've lived your life, who you are, and what people are saying about you. But it's very much about what people are saying about you. So what you're being told here is, forgiveness is something, if we're not forgiving other people, it's very often because there is something in us that needs to be identified as a way of letting go. And it might be the inability to forgive. It might be something completely different that you need to understand about that situation and who you were in that situation, in order to be able to let go of whatever that energy was, whatever that old outdated belief was, where that negative expectation has been continued in your life and perpetuating more of the same. You're being told here, look at where pride has played a role in your life. And again, what I'm getting here are the two things: that it's easy to be prideful in a way where it's healthy, and it's easy to be arrogant, prideful in a way where it's arrogant. And also pride can hide behind humility. So either extreme, where you're feeling really very humble and perhaps self-effacing, and also arrogant and quite grandiose, they're opposite poles of the same spectrum. So look at where you blame, look at where you consider yourself above, and then allow yourself to step back and say, all right, if I'm attached to this, if I'm doing this to somebody else, do I do the same thing to me? If I offer too much to somebody, do I do the same thing to myself? If I undermine or discredit somebody or blame somebody, do I have that energy feeding back on me as well? Am I doing it to myself? And that seems to be the big question here is, are you doing it to yourself? Where can you look at the choices that you've made and look at them without a defensive pride that denies your involvement in it and your participation in it? Okay? Now, I believe it, and you're being asked, like, you know what? You don't have to do this perfectly. This is an ongoing flow of awareness and experience. And what I'm feeling as I'm saying this to you now, Pisces, is there's this whole lot of love for you, anchoring you into that sense of true spiritual identity, because you haven't always had it easy to deal with the emotions that you've got, because you do have them intensely. And if you haven't been grounded and know how to really be able to dive the depths, then come back to the surface of your emotion, you can end up feeling as though sometimes you're only living half your life, or you're only living halfway to what it could be. It might be okay, but it might not be spectacular, and you might secretly want spectacular. You're being told here to take it easy. Breathe. Allow yourself to really notice what your emotions are. Breathing for you is very important as a water sign. You need to be able to have enough air so that the water moves, so that it doesn't get stagnant. So this is what Spirit is saying, is really allow yourself to breathe throughout the day. Consciously engage your breath, because your breath is going to connect you to your body, to your deeper feelings, and to whatever insights come up as you approach those very gently, and with a lot of self-forgiveness. And remember that so much of these patterns have come from experiences in your childhood that were not comfortable for you, or that challenged your sense of who you were, your ability to be proud in a healthy way, as opposed to having to muster up pridefulness as a kind of defense. Some of you have already done this. Some of you have already gone very, very far in doing this. And some of you are still just at a point now where you're starting to notice things maybe not being as satisfying as they were, and questioning why. Spirit would also like me to remind you, as we are all being reminded, that we are in a process of great change globally. And the conscious human mind, the collective mind, the group consciousness of the planet is being affected. So the old things tend to come up. The old things that have been hidden often are hidden because there is shame or blame associated with them towards ourselves. So I feel for you, Pisces, this is really the opportunity for you to get a sail put on your surfboard so you can go wherever you want. And you got snorkel on so you can dive. And you can, you don't even need a snorkel because you can breathe in the water. You can breathe in the water. But you need to bring breath in. You need to bring air in to the emotional field in order for you to be able to actually regain your sense of, or maybe for the first time, claim your sense of emotional strength and insight and awareness, because you have it. You absolutely have it. It's there in you. If you have not had the kind of nurturing that you need, the kind of feeling of being accepted and seen for who you are, it doesn't matter right now whether or not you've forgiven other people. No, that's not correct. What they're saying is, even if you have forgiven other people around situations, can you go back? Are you willing? Are you able at this point to go back and look at how that affected you and the holdover that might still be there for you? Okay? Pisces, I'm going to leave you with this. I think this is really quite beautiful. Because what this tells me is, unlike the song Dancing Through Life or whatever it is from Wicked, it's the song Fiyero sings to Glinda, I think, in the beginning. Dancing through life isn't really all that satisfying to you. You need depth, Pisces. You are deep thinkers, you are deep feelers, and you need depth. This is your opportunity to be able to live life with the kind of depth of feeling and emotion and insight that brings you fulfillment in a way that perhaps you've not experienced yet. And it's all about reclaiming yourself. Pisces, I think it's lovely, and I'm going to leave you with that. Take care.